that some people did something, all of us were starting to lose.
What's up, guys? It's Benny. It's so refreshing to finally see some corporate media covering this major story, the biggest in America right now, the fraud that is going on in Minneapolis, Minnesota. News Nation, to their great credit, sent a reporter on the ground in Minneapolis to go knock on doors and show up to various fraudulent Somali businesses, and you will be shocked to find out what they learned. Now, this is, of course, on the heels of CNN going there to attack Nick Shirley, but CNN had that backfire on them. I'll play you that clip in just a moment. But the News Nation reporter, Rick Mayhew, he showed up to an assisted living facility in Minneapolis that receives tons of taxpayer money, only to find that it is a normal-looking single-family home. There's nobody there. The facility is one of a few facilities owned by Gandhi Mohammed. Mohammed was indicted in 2024 for laundering $1 million in the Feeding Our Futures case. So this is a massive federal case that involved 90 different Somalis defrauding the federal government, saying they were feeding children. It wasn't true. So he's already a fraudster, and now he continues to get payments from the federal government. Shouldn't that ban you from ever doing business with the federal government ever again? These are assisted living facilities received over $2.3 million in state money last year alone, says Mayhew. Minnesota Reformer article says Mohammed has been paid a whopping $49 million since 2016. How is it possible that a person who's been indicted for fraud is still collecting nearly $50 million worth of checks running an assisted living center with his wife? Is it even real? The answer to that, of course, is no. You're never going to guess what happened when Rick Mayhew from News Nation went knocking on the door of several assisted living facilities in Brooklyn Park, Minnesota. Turns out that despite being currently under indictment for defrauding state millions of dollars, they're paying the owner millions of dollars per year. $50 million. There's a lot of NFL contracts that aren't $50 million. Like, very few NFL contracts actually are $50 million. That's an obscene amount of money. This person needs to be locked up for life. You need to seize all of his assets immediately. It's been revealed Somali indicted for the Feeding Our Futures scam is still receiving federal tax dollars through a loophole where the wife operates assisted living homes in properties that they own. They all need to go home. People are enraged at this. This has done insane numbers of views, millions of views. Imagine if the corporate media just decided to report at all on this stuff. Like, imagine if they just lifted a finger. You know, there's 3,000 employees at CNN, 3,000 employees at CBS News, 3,000 employees at ABC News. We looked up these numbers. There's like 5,000 employees at NBC News and NBC News and their affiliates. Where are those reporters? This is the biggest story in America. Imagine if those reporters were dispatched to just go check on these things. It shows your hand, by the way, in what you choose not to cover. More than what you choose to cover, and what you choose not to cover. This shows your hand. Here we go. Here's the News Nation report, and good on News Nation for this.
Hi, Hannah. Well, prosecutors here have found billions in fraud, $9 billion in fraud, and they focused on 14 different programs that fraudsters use to defraud Medicaid of those billions. We got a tip last time we were reporting here to look into another area, and thanks to our reporting, we did, and we believe we have found the 15th area, and it is assisted living. Take a look. This may look like your typical single-family home, but it bills itself as an assisted living facility, and it receives a lot of taxpayer money. Here in Minnesota, the number of people getting help in assisted living facilities is up, double the growth of other programs. But here's the kicker. The rate of payment in this assisted living space is 10 to 15 times the growth in other programs. Hi. So we pulled the data on assisted living facilities in the Minneapolis area. Minneapolis, as you might expect, has a lot, 169. St. Paul, with a population of 307,000, has 83. But Brooklyn Center, 30,000 population, has 106. And Brooklyn Park, population of 84,000, has 181, more than Minneapolis, a city 5 times its size. But this assisted living facility puts this all in perspective. It's owned by a man indicted for laundering $1 million in the Feeding Our Future scam. He's Gandhi Mohammed, now Gandhi Abdi Kadai, and his LLC owns the homes. His wife runs the assisted living facilities, and the state is continuing to pay as he awaits his trial. Okay.
We went to each of them.
We're curious because the man who owns this building was indicted in the Feeding Our Future scandal. Did you know that?
No.
Don't know that?
No. You think what?
Do you know the Feeding Our Future scandal? The scam that was, there's all these indictments related to false, billing on feeding children.
No, that's not true.
That it's not true?
It's not true. The way I know that, no.
These assisted living facilities received over $2.3 million in state money last year alone. A Minnesota Reformer article says he has been paid a whopping $49 million since 2016.
How is it possible that this person who's been indicted in Feeding Our Future also is still collecting checks from the state, running these assisted living centers with his wife?
I honestly have no idea. It seems like the most basic due diligence would have been to run a check of all the people indicted in Feeding Our Future and then make sure they're not getting paid from other state programs. And at least in this case, and I've heard perhaps in others, they didn't do that.
State Representative Kristen Robbins is the chair of the House Fraud and Oversight Committee here.
So this person owns assisted living facilities, and his wife runs the service provider part of it. So he owns the property. One of the properties was purchased with the same shell company he used to money launder in Feeding Our Future. And now that same shell company has been used to buy a new assisted living facility property. It's unconscionable that they haven't done the most basic due diligence to cross-check that Feeding Our Future defendants aren't getting additional state money.
Now, we reached out to this man and his wife and yet to hear back. We also reached out to the Department of Human Services here, and they gave us a statement. In part, it basically says, ultimately, they can't cut funding from this guy because he is simply a landlord, essentially because his wife runs the services for these assisted living facilities, essentially kind of passing the buck.
The responses have been, I'm sure your blood is boiling after watching that. Mine was as well. The rage I feel as a law-abiding taxpayer is indescribable. I know I'm not the only one. Prosecute, denaturalize, seize, deport, repeat. Minnesota Reformer article says Muhammad has been paid a whopping $49 million. This makes me sick. 49 million billed since 2016. It's been going on for decades. People are calling this the Nick Shirley effect. Now, independent journalists are out checking these things and, again, doing a better job than the corporate journalists. But once again, hat tip to News Nation. CNN went on the ground to Minneapolis, and instead of fact checking or doing any reporting on the fraud, they went and attacked Nick Shirley and then had it backfire on them in this clip. This is how hard it was for CNN to try and find something in Minneapolis that wasn't fraud. And then when they tried to prove that Nick Shirley was wrong, they proved the exact opposite. Hysterical. Journalists need to do their job, or better yet, just keep letting YouTubers do it for you. We'll be happy to keep going. All right, here's the CNN report. It's so humiliating.
We're from CNN. Can we talk to you?
This is MAGA YouTuber Nick Shirley. Back at a daycare in Minnesota, he alleged was a fraudulent facility in a now viral video.
People are going to say this is a left or right issue, but no, fraud is fraud. And so I'm not out here trying to put a twist on things.
Shirley's viral video, released over the weekend, in which he says he's uncovering tens of millions of dollars in fraud at Minneapolis daycares run by the Somali community, was retweeted by Elon Musk and Vice President J.D. Vance. In the video, Shirley tries to open locked doors and talk to people at various daycares he claims are frauds.
Did you come during their normal operating hours when you came to visit?
I came at 11 a.m., I believe, and I also came the following day later in the day. The point of it is not whether or not I came at the right time of their operation hours. The point is that blacked out doors, they can't give you any information. You call that number, no one answers. I wasn't trying to go inside, and there should be a way for somebody to actually be able to call that number and somebody be able to answer. These aren't real businesses.
But surely you don't think a daycare should just be unlocked. You shouldn't be able to just walk into a daycare.
There should be a reception.
No, every daycare is locked.
has their doors locked. If
And so, okay, you bring up a fair point. Then why can't they actually give me information how to enroll a child?
Federal law enforcement has been investigating fraud in Minnesota for several years. Both Attorney General Pam Bondi and FBI Director Kash Patel said on social media they've indicted dozens of defendants. DHS has posted multiple videos of agents they say are conducting a massive fraud investigation.
Do you think that federal law enforcement hasn't done enough? I mean, they would say, look, these fraud cases have been going on, but they've already done like 80 indictments. The cases have been going on, for years.
And why did I show up one day in Minnesota and go to all these daycares, no children, they're receiving millions of dollars. We uncovered nearly $110 million in fraud in one day.
How do you know that all the allegations that you're making are true?
How do I know that they're true? Well, we showed you guys what was happening, and then you guys can go ahead and make your own analysis.
We're coming so we can make our own analysis. Are you 100% sure you're true?
Yeah, I am 100% sure I'm true.
CNN is looking into Shirley's claims.
Hi, my name's Whitney Wild. I'm a correspondent for CNN.
We reached out to several of the daycares featured in the now viral video. Only one daycare facility answered and said they are a legitimate business.
Have you seen the videos, purporting that some of these daycares don't have kids inside?
Minnesota Republicans say despite the new focus from the Trump administration, they have been sounding the alarm on fraud for years.
We have talked about fraud. We have gotten stories. We've tried to push this forward every way that we can.
At the daycare where Shirley showed back up, a stream of children walk inside.
You're saying that this is a fraudulent daycare. There's kids being dropped off right now.
Yes, the Commissioner of Children literally said a week ago this place was closed.
Did you know
They're
that?
showing face right now.
A viral video, disputed claims, and their full fallout remains to be seen.